morning.
Hiya.
So we've finished moving for this year. Well, we will do some weekends, won't we? But essentially,
Definitely.
yeah, we've done. We don't usually like doing this two to camera thing, but for this video, it makes sense because we're going to go over after our first year on the boat what we got right and what we got wrong, just in case it's of help to anybody who's building a boat. We didn't do a how much it cost us video. I mean, there's lots of them out there, and if you're looking for a boat, you've probably watched those anyway. But as a sort of broad thing, we did a lot of research at the beginning about we knew our budget, and we had three choices. We could get a sail away, we could buy one already done, but usually to somebody else's spec, because if you have it done to your spec, the price would go up a lot. Or we could buy a boat that was already fitted out and then retrofit it. And when you look at those three options, if you're practical and you can do a lot of the work yourself, in our case, I think we did nearly all of the work ourselves, didn't we?
Yeah, more than 90%, I reckon.
In that case, it makes sense to get a sail away, because you can tweak the build of the sail away to suit yourself, which we did. And if you've got the time and the willingness to do all the work, then it really is worthwhile getting a brand new boat. So our budget was 70 grand, and we went over budget by about 5 or 6 grand, and most of that was because of the paint. It wasn't just the paint, it was the amount of masking tape that I used to make all the stripes on the boat. That was really expensive. But the other thing that cost a lot more than we budgeted for was the fact that the sail away came primered, and I wish that somebody had told me right at the beginning that you need to paint it straight away, because we didn't. And when we came to paint the boat, all the primer had to come off because it had got damp and there would be rust issues, and that was the worst job ever. I never ever want to do that again. When it has to go back to bare metal next time, I'll get it sandblasted and do it that way. But the painting itself, albeit that it was 10 coats, I didn't mind doing. I quite enjoyed it. You just have to be methodical and watch all the John Barnard videos. But the taking the primer off was a job from hell, even though I had Angel helping me at the time. I never want to do that again. So that the whole paint job probably cost us more than we budgeted for. However, if you get someone else to do it, it's up there. The price loads up, between £8,000 and £12,000. Really expensive. So we ran over budget on that. And what else cost us more, do you think?
Well, timber was fairly expensive, I think. Maybe a bit more than we were anticipating. The
Price went up during the pandemic, didn't it?
Yeah, the price went up, and of course we had the double whammy of not actually being able to get any materials at one point, which meant in one case we had to settle for sort of low quality stuff, but we only did that once. Terrible stuff. I can't think of anything else that went was more than we anticipated for, though. Maybe the wiring was maybe a bit more, but difficult to say really. You'd still have to pay for the wire, whether you did it or you got someone else to do it. So it probably was about right, I reckon, and the cost of the wiring and associated work that went with it. No, I can't think of anything really,
Right.
apart from those aspects of it.
When we were designing the boat, we saw written everywhere that your second boat is always the perfect boat, and we knew we weren't going to do a second boat. It took 2 years of our life to do this boat. So during the time that XR&D were building the hull, we bought a big plan from the fit out pontoon. They're really good plans, and you get all these little things to cut out that you can put on the plan, fridges and showers and
Like a
things
little
like that.
Wendy house.
Yeah, it was. So we had lots of time to design, and I noted the weight of everything so that we could distribute it evenly around. And we designed and redesigned and redesigned, bearing in mind all the time how we like to live. So, in the end, having now lived on it for 6 months, we feel that we got the layout right. That there's been very little that's been annoying, has there?
No, no. The I think one thing was the chimney opening, because where it was going to come out originally, it was going to be too close to the centre line, so that had to be slightly rearranged, but just shifted over a couple of 100 mil,
Yeah.
and that was it really.
And then we decided on some things which wouldn't be usual in a boat. So we decided not to have gas at all. We had an induction hob, and we put in an electric oven. So we've got a big solar setup and lithium batteries. And the induction hob has been fine, and the not having gas has been fine. But one big mistake was putting in a full size electric oven. It's not necessary, it uses up too much electricity. You can even, you can get half size ovens which are far less kilowatts, and they do exactly the same job as a big oven, because if there's two of you on a boat, you're not going to be doing a roast dinner and cakes all at the same
For 10
time.
people.
Yeah, so that was a mistake. So we're going to swap over the oven this winter and put in a half size oven, which would then give me more space for a drawer underneath. So that was one mistake. The other one was power sockets.
Oh yeah, yeah, power sockets. We actually talked about this in the beginning when we were planning it, but once we've been living on the boat, we realised quite quickly that we've got enough power sockets in the right place, but those sockets need to be doubles or even three in some cases. It's either that or you plug those terrible adapter things in.
Yeah, which is what we've got at the moment, and we've got to change. We put lots of sockets in the kitchen, and we could have done with less in the kitchen, but it's where you sit. So at our dinette and in the salon behind, we could have doubled the sockets, because you're charging your phone, you're charging your computer, you've got a light on. You just do need more. I mean, I think everyone does that in a house or a boat. You always need more sockets than you think. So we're going to have to increase those where we can.
I think we've got enough USB outlets.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The other mistake we made was on the stove. We didn't really think about it, and the stove manufacturers didn't mention it either, but you need some way of cleaning it out if you have an oven above the stove, because the oven blocks where you would normally clean. So we've got to order a flue with a door in it so that we can get the vacuum in and clean that out.
Yeah.
I mean, you could possibly go on the roof and put a Henry hose all the way down, but actually, if you have a door on the flue, you can see what's going on. It'd be easier. So we've got to change that. Then the other small thing was in the bedroom. There's no windows at the front, and we feel that we would like two small windows there, which would have been much easier to have had done in the build part of the boat. So we will probably put some in, but that might not be for a year or so, because we have a little list of jobs here to do for this winter. They're all small things, but probably won't have time to do that yet, but we will at some point put some little windows in the front. We did put two skylights in. Brilliant. I mean, they've just opened the boat up and made it seem lighter. And it's the first thing anybody says when they come on the boat, how light it seems. Um, we decided not to have a fridge. We've got two things in the floor, hatches in the floor, and we've got a small freezer that we've put on wheels, and that was much better. So we can have a lot of frozen food. If we find a nice butcher's or something like that, we can buy really good quality stuff and keep it in the freezer, because when you're out on the canal, you can't always find a good shop, and you're a bit reliant on the co-op, it seems, and very little choice and a lot of plastic. So that was good. We got a lot of freezer packs in the freezer, and we just put those into the hatches. So if it's really hot during the summer, you can do that in the morning and in the evening, and it's fine. We're also not milk drinkers, so milk is the only thing that might be an issue. But cream and cheese all seems to be fine. So that worked out well. What else did we get right? The windows. We
Oh
paid,
yeah,
yeah,
windows double glazed with the thermal break.
yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah,
We don't ever get condensation.
at all. And it's the boat warms up really quickly, and they can come right out of it. So they're just really good. So I would definitely recommend the Caldwell windows.
But one of the things that would have been better to have got done before we actually went out onto the cut would have been a couple of jobs that I had to do on the go, and some of those were a bit difficult, really. So if you are building a boat, then I would recommend that maybe hang around in your boatyard where you're building it for maybe another month or so, and get these big jobs out of the way, because once you're moving around, you think you've got loads of time, but you don't have that much time to do these sort of jobs. And sometimes it means disconnecting the water or something else, and finding something like screw fix as you're going around. So if you've got big things that you like, in our case was the central heating, the hurricane heater. That would have been great to have got that done actually when we were building the boat, but we ran out of time on that one.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Henry just appears briefly in most of the videos because he's always in a cupboard or got his head under the floor.
You can usually see my back.
Yeah, so um, there, there's certain jobs you can do when you're travelling, but it's not always easy on the towpath, and so you have to be realistic about what you can do out. I know some people who live on their boats all the time. They set up on the towpath with workmate and all that sort of things, and some people manage, but it isn't as easy as when you're stationary at the beginning building it, trying to get all your major jobs out of the way. Leave smaller jobs that are more I don't know, realistic to do as you're travelling around. um, we've got a separator toilet. You don't call them compost loos, they're separator loos, and that's worked out really well. It's just not an issue. However, we do have a small garden in Brighton, so we can square the circle.
Yeah.
If you live on a boat full time, it's trickier. It can be done, but you have to really want to do it. But if you do have access to anywhere where you can compost, I would definitely recommend them. It's just not a problem. And after 6 months on board, we've had 3 containers with lids, and it breaks down really quickly into compost, and we will now leave them in Brighton for over the winter. And next spring, I don't have any qualms at all about putting it on the garden. It looks like compost already, and in another 4 or 5 months, it'll be fine. So that's worked really well. But the box that we built the separator into, we've got a fan in the bathroom, which you don't really need very much, do we?
No, it just looks good.
Yeah, but the separator loo itself, we haven't put a vent into that, and it gets moist inside, and it tends to rise. So the underneath of the loo seat, I think it's a common problem on the wooden loo seats, is they get a lot of moisture on them and then start to go dark. So at some point I'm going to dry that out and sand it and paint it. but we're also going to put in some vents actually into the box itself to get by that problem. What else? We've got loads of storage. I've had no problems with storage at all. We've sort of built it in everywhere. So if you're building a boat, raise everything up. We've got loads of storage in the sofa bed.
Just loads still left in
Yeah,
there. There's so much space in there.
Yeah, we've got loads of storage under the dinette. We built in a really big drawer under the bed and then divided it in half. So one half is for, trousers and things like that, and the other one is for dirty washing. So it's great to have a drawer where you can just put your dirty washing, and actually the drawer full is about a machine full. So we know when we need to go to the laundrette. We haven't got a washing machine on board. We want to be as off grid as possible, and it hasn't really been an issue, has it?
No, we found a couple of washing machines anyway whilst we've been travelling around, so that's quite good.
Yeah, so laundrette. There's plenty of laundrettes around, and we've got a drying rack that we can put out on the towpath as well. And you can always keep your smalls inside if you don't want everyone else to see them. I can't think of anything else. I mean, in essence, we got the layout right, and which is a real relief. And everything that we want to do on it now is more aesthetics than anything else. We don't like our broom cupboard at the back.
No.
So Henry will revisit that if it gets to the end of that list. We're going to be moored up essentially until March, and then we're going to go to a boat yard just up the way in Arran, and we're going to do some touching up on the outside because we've bashed it a bit. So we've got 2-pack on the hull, so I'm going to try to touch that up. And the actual painting of the boat itself, I used Dulux Trade Weather Shield and it's been fine, but it has got a bit scraped. But because it's all stripes, then I can just mask off the colours I want to do and retouch those. I did use Raddle paint on the roof and the gunnels, and that hasn't lasted as well as the Dulux, surprisingly, considering it's boat paint, which costs a lot more. So we're going to have to give that a sand and put another coat on top of that. Yeah, so that was quite interesting because when I mentioned I was going to use Dulux Trade Weather Shield, there was a bit of sucking of teeth, but it's, so far it's been fine. We'll see what it looks like in another couple of years, but it's so easy to touch up. I can't really see why it's an issue, and you can have any colour under the sun. Anything else that you can think of?
I can't think of anything. No, not really. I mean, I suppose that we'll end up adding bits here and there inside, just to make it nicer as we go, like a curved door in front of the freezer and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's about it really. So all the hard work is definitely paid off, and all the planning is definitely paid off.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I forgot the curtains. So the curtains, I've got magnets on them that just go up on the frames at night, depending on which is the towpath side. I really like that. It means you haven't got. I don't like gathered curtains up to the window. It can spoil the lines of the boat, and I wasn't so keen on the rolled up blinds either. So having little curtains with magnets on that just go up where you want them and down when you don't, that worked out really well, and I would definitely recommend that. And I think that's about it, isn't it?
Just one thing on the wiring side. Definitely recommend Wago connectors. Brilliant. Because you can make a change instantly. You don't have to go back here and go back there and start undoing nuts and bolts and things. Wago connectors, definitely the way to go.
Right. We did get, we had a lot of YouTube help when we were building the boat. We used Journey with Jono a lot, David from Cruising the Cut, and Slim Potato Head, who is great at doing hacks and just problem solving. Slim Potato Head is the best problem solver of all. So those 3 people just gave us confidence, and we realised as we went on, you can do what you like as long as it passes the safety test. You can do what you like, and we didn't really have that confidence to start with, but as we
No,
went on,
no.
it came. And you have to enjoy the process as well, because we have met a few people who've been tearing their hair out at the end of it. But I think that we essentially enjoyed the process, didn't we?
Yeah, it was quite good. Lots of learning to be done here and there as well with it. Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's it for now. We will do some winter videos and show you what we're doing on the boat as well. But for now, that's it. So see you on the next video. If there's anything that we've missed out and you want to ask, just put a comment underneath. That's it for now. See you on the
Okay.
next video.
All right. Bye for now.